Everyone thinks narcissists love themselves, that they are confident, self-obsessed, maybe even a little arrogant, but deep down, strong. But what if I told you that's completely wrong? What if everything you think you know about narcissists is actually a carefully constructed illusion? Because narcissists don't love themselves. They're running from themselves. And once you understand that, everything starts to make sense. Narcissism isn't confidence. It's not self-love. And it's definitely not strength. Narcissism is a defense mechanism, a psychological shield built to protect a fragile identity. Underneath that loud confidence, there's insecurity. Underneath that charm, there's fear. And underneath that perfect image, there's someone who feels deeply inadequate. Most narcissists were not born this way. They were shaped, formed by environments where they were either ignored or never truly accepted. Sometimes they were constantly criticized. Sometimes they were only valued when they performed. And sometimes they were made to feel like they were never enough. So they adapted. They learned to create a version of themselves that could not be rejected, a version that was impressive, confident, perfect, untouchable. And that's where the mask begins. At first, it works. People are drawn to them. They're charming, engaging, magnetic. They know exactly what to say, exactly how to act, exactly how to make you feel seen. But here's the part no one talks about. That connection you feel, it's not real. Because narcissists don't truly connect with people. They study them. They observe your emotions, your insecurities, your desires, your weaknesses. And then they use them. Not always in obvious ways, not always with bad intentions, but always for one purpose: control. At the beginning, it feels amazing. They give you attention, validation, affection. They make you feel special, like you matter more than anyone else, like you finally found someone who truly understands you. But slowly, something starts to change. The attention fades, the warmth disappears, the energy shifts, and you don't understand why. So you try harder. You give more. You become more patient, more forgiving, more understanding. And without realizing it, you're being pulled deeper into their world. A world where your value depends on their approval, where your emotions are constantly questioned, where your reality slowly starts to blur. This is where manipulation begins. Not loudly, not aggressively, but subtly. They might twist your words, make you question your memory, turn situations around until somehow you're the one at fault. You start doubting yourself, second-guessing your thoughts, feeling confused, anxious, and emotionally exhausted. This is called narcissistic abuse. And the most dangerous part? It doesn't look like abuse. There are no obvious signs, no clear lines, no moment where everything suddenly makes sense. Because narcissists don't appear dangerous. They appear perfect, successful, confident, even kind. And that's why so many people stay. Because they remember the beginning. They remember how it felt before everything changed. But the truth is, the beginning was never real. It was a performance, a strategy, a way to pull you in. So how do you protect yourself? How do you recognize it before it's too late? You stop focusing on what they say and start paying attention to what they do. You notice patterns, not promises. You set boundaries, clear, firm, unbreakable. And most importantly, you stop trying to fix them, because this is something a lot of people don't want to hear. You cannot heal a narcissist. You cannot love them into becoming someone else. You cannot save them from themselves. The only person you can save is yourself. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Not because you're weak, but because you finally understand that staying would cost you everything. And in the end, a narcissist will always choose one person over everyone else: the person in the mirror. There's another layer to narcissism that most people never see,
And it explains why even smart, self-aware people get trapped in these dynamics. Narcissists don't just manipulate emotions, they shape perception. Over time, they create a version of reality where they are always right and you are always slightly off. Not obviously wrong, just uncertain enough to doubt yourself. This is not accidentally, it's a psychological strategy, because certainty is power, and if they can take that away from you, they gain control without ever raising their voice. Another thing most people misunderstand is this. Narcissists don't experience relationships the same way you do. For most people, relationships are about connection, mutual growth, shared emotional experience. But for a narcissist, a relationship is a system of regulation. They use other people to stabilize how they feel about themselves, to avoid emptiness, to maintain their image, to stay in control of their internal state. And that's why their behavior can feel so inconsistent. One moment, they're fully engaged, present, almost perfect, and the next moment, they're distant, cold, or completely disconnected. It's not random. It depends on what they need in that moment. When they need validation, they move closer. When they feel exposed or threatened, they pull away. And this creates something very powerful, intermittent reinforcement, which is one of the strongest psychological hooks known. Because your brain starts chasing the good version of them, the version that felt real, the version that made everything feel right, even if that version only appears 10% of the time. And that's what keeps people stuck. Not logic, not weakness, but conditioning. Your brain learns to associate them with both reward and pain, and that combination is extremely difficult to break. So if you've ever wondered, why is it so hard to let go? That's why. It's not just emotional, it's neurological. And understanding that changes everything. Because once you see the pattern, you stop blaming yourself for feeling attached, and you start realizing you were responding exactly the way the system was designed for you to respond. And that awareness is the first real step out.